Hi, welcome to Talks of Recovery. I'm Mari-Lyn. I haven't been on it in a long time. I was, I know originally I had the idea I was going to talk recovery every week, and that hasn't happened. And Spirit's been talking at me and talking at me. Uh, where's your recovery talks? Where's your recovery talks? So here I am back with another recovery talk. One of the main reasons I decided to do another talk was the issue of boredom came up for me last week really, really strongly. And I thought, man, the things I've been thinking after, 13 plus years of sobriety, I can't be the only one. And I had all these memories of how boredom were so prevalent in my mind in early recovery and in my active addiction, because I would drink because I was bored. So if you have listened to the other Conscious Spirit podcasts with Pam and myself, you've noticed that we've started opening space, getting grounded and getting everyone else grounded. And I would actually like to do that right now because I can tell I am so not grounded. If you are by chance driving right now, I ask you to just kind of, let this play in the background. Don't focus too much on it. Make sure that you are present and focused on your driving. If you are doing anything that requires your attention, cooking or operating machinery, I ask you to just, kind of tune this out so you don't get distracted in it, and allow the grounding to happen. And then just listen, be open to everything. Yeah. Spirit, I would like to open this sacred circle around me and everyone who is listening, whenever they are listening, that we are all placed on the same energetic platform of high vibration, of love and above. I set my intention to be a conduit for which your wisdom can come through and mesh with my experience. I set the intention to leave my ego in the corner, which is a little difficult when I'm talking my own experience, but I don't want to get so wrapped up in my ego that I forget to leave my channel open. I ask that everyone listening receive exactly what they need for their highest good in this time of their life that they're listening, whether what they receive comes from the words I speak or from anything else. That's not important. I ask to be grounded. I ask that everyone listening is grounded deep into the earth, that our energy runs freely through us, down out our feet into the ground, that we can drop a grounding cord with an anchor, and that when it anchors in, it also acts like a straw, pulling in the high vibrational loving energy of Mother Earth. As that energy rises up through us, all the way through our bodies, out the top of our head, all the way up to igniting each of our personal sparks at source. And that energy that is uniquely each individual listening comes down, entering at our crown, pouring over us and through us, filling us with the high vibration of spirit, of love and compassion and joy. Thank you. And I feel so much better now. So, like I said, I wanted to come on and talk about that boredom scenario. Last week, gosh, I found myself so bored. And with that boredom really came a lot of thoughts of drinking. I wasn't like close to relapse or anything like that. It was just the thought of having a drink, how that would make me feel initially. I tried not to go, big story of blackout drunk. I tried to keep it real, that immediate feeling. But also what I found myself thinking about was the whole ritual of drinking, because that was my drug of choice. And when I talk sobriety, when I talk drinking, it could be alcohol, drugs, gambling, sex, shopping. It could be an attitude. It could be a behavior. It can be gossip. It can be absolutely anything that we are addicted to. And for me, part of what kept the boredom away was the ritual of opening a bottle, of, this might sound corny, but that excitement of twisting the cap off of the bottle. And I say twisting off because brandy, hard liquor was what I drank. Yes, sometimes it would be a beer. And if it was a twist or a popping of a can, whatever it was, opening that drink brought an excitement about it. And so there was like this whole ritual of opening it, of pouring it, of not drinking out of my glass until I was where I was going to settle in, whether it was outside in front of the TV. Now, mind you, that wouldn't keep me from just drinking off the bottle. But if I was pouring it into a glass, I typically wouldn't drink out of the glass until I was where I was going, because that was part of the ritual. And that helped with that whole boredom that filled my life at that time when I was active in my addiction. And that's partly, I guess, why last week, when boredom was creeping in, I found myself going to thoughts of drinking, thoughts of choosing, what am I going to drink? What am I fixing for dinner? Am I going to have wine? Is it going to be beer? Am I going to have a mixed drink? Which I usually didn't do, but sometimes I would if it was going to be with a meal, which, it's weird. Alcoholics are weird. At least I was. I am. So a lot of thought processes, right, goes into our addictions. I don't care what it is. There's a lot of thought that goes into the rituals and the timing. And it's a great way to waste time to keep us from being bored. So, it totally makes sense. I don't know why I was surprised that I thought so much about it last week, but it does make sense. Now for me, the boredom was coming because I've had I have been going through a big transformation over the past month or so, through personal beliefs and thought processes, which of course brings about healing. There's been growth in my personal life. There's been growth in my professional life, and all of the crazy energies that have been happening out in the universe with the full moon. There's another full moon that's coming There was the Lion's Gate, which is a huge energy thing. The astrological nodes were shifting. There's so much energetically that was happening, and it took its toll on me. And I just kind of quit doing a whole lot. I was ignoring myself. I was not really being an active participant in really any way in my life. And I was bored. And therefore, all the thoughts of drinking. The memories that came in early sobriety of not being able to partake in my rituals. Those were hard. And luckily for me, in early sobriety, I slept so much because most of my drinking was starting with cooking dinner, eating dinner, and then after dinner until I was, whatever, blacked out. So in early sobriety, I was very lucky that we would have dinner, we'd watch a little TV and go to bed, and I would sleep. Very grateful for that. But in my active drinking, oh my gosh, I was so bored with life. And at that time, I had so much wounding that I was really unaware of, and not really aware of how to go about doing healing, even though I knew there was more for me, but I couldn't actively seek it out because I was so active in my drinking. And I'd get bored and I would drink more. And that's kind of how it got to be so bad. So very bad. And the things that I did in my day-to-day life that tried to fill in the boredom, they were not healthy choices at all. Not at all. So the unhealthy choices and the wounding. Anyways, my point being, boredom is a really slippery slope for people of addiction. I know it was for me. And last week, when I found myself in that place of boredom and the thought of drinking came every day, sometimes multiple times a day, I kept hearing Cowboy, my main guide, going, oops, sorry, my glasses look crooked. Anyway, I could hear him. You need to talk about this. You haven't talked recovery in so long. You need to talk about the correlation between our addictions and boredom. When we're bored with life, we're bored with ourselves, we tune ourselves out, we ignore ourselves. I certainly was ignoring myself. And I'd almost gotten really to the point of times of ignoring Spirit and Cowboy, which I find myself wanting to apologize, right, to Spirit. And then it dawns on me, or it's said back to me, it's not us you have to apologize to. Apologize to yourself for not being there for you. And it's very true. When I'm not showing up for myself, when I'm not being an active participant, yeah, those thoughts of drinking, they get stronger. And I realize in watching TV man, there's drinking all over the place. Alcohol is like prevalent in our media outlets. And it's not surprising that it can be triggering to people. Usually it's not for me. But like I said, that boredom that set in, and I was noticing it everywhere. And when I finally started, it started clicking, I started listening and putting the pieces together that the boredom and the alcohol thoughts really are a reflection of how little I'm thinking about my self-care, how little interest I'm really taking on what I need. And it's a sad thing that we neglect ourselves really at any time, because we can't really take care of other people if we're not taking care of ourselves first. It's like that whole airplane and the oxygen masks. They always say, please put your own oxygen mask on first before helping the children or the elderly or anybody in need. Because if we aren't taking care of us, we can't take care of others. With that said, I have learned that if we feel like we can't take care of us, one of the best things that we can do is to be in service, reach out to help someone else. And it doesn't matter how we're helping them. If we are just smiling and saying hi to somebody, if we're holding a door for them, we let somebody go in front of us at the grocery store, we show compassion and kindness. Because sometimes it can very simply, in the act of showing kindness, the act of compassion, we can see more clearly how we can show kindness and compassion to ourselves. We might see maybe how someone in our lives isn't showing that to us, and that can shine a light on how we can show it to ourselves. Because while life isn't a solo journey, we need people in our lives. We need connection. We also have to take that personal responsibility. We have to be that active participant, and we can't rely solely on other people, on those connections, to fill that hole, to fill that void that's in us that leads us to addiction, however it occurs, whether it manifests in gossiping, in anger, in, just lousy choices, in gambling, in drugs, in alcohol, how it manifested in me. We have to be an active participant in filling that void. And boredom, that spectrum of boredom, we can really look at that as a beacon, as saying, hello, look at me. I need attention. That could be our body screaming out for attention. Maybe our body needs more activity. Maybe our body needs a different type of food. I know for me, my body craves movement, and I ignore that so often. And when I started putting two and two together again, I got on the treadmill, and I've been on the treadmill, I can't say every day in the past week. There's 2 days. So I've been 5 out of this last 7 days. I've been on the treadmill. I've been in motion, and I'm feeling better. The thoughts of alcohol are, for the most part, they're gone. They're not like they were, because I've moved myself out of that vibration of boredom And I've been considering myself, and it's working and it's helping. So whether you are active in your addiction, you're not in addiction at all, you're just bored, you are in early sobriety, you are solid in your sobriety, but boredom is a theme, I invite you, I urge you to reach out to somebody, whether it's to yourself, whether it's to me, to a friend, someone in your recovery community, if you're in recovery, whether it's a professional or it's just a friend to go do something with. Reach out to somebody and become active and work your way into being an active participant in your life, in your journey, in your healing journey, in your recovery journey. If you feel called to reach out to me, you can contact me through our website, tcseverydayspsychics.com. You can also find on there services that I offer, that Pam offers. You can listen to healing meditations that Pam offers on our YouTube channel, The Conscious Spirit Podcast. Those can be a really great way to spark some clarity on healing, on maybe why boredom is setting in. Boredom is a signal, it's a clue. I like to think of it as a beacon, as to something that needs attention, and that's usually something inside, whether it's in our brain, in our heart, within our body. When we are active in our life and we are moving forward, not settled back into old behaviors in the past, but when we are moving forward, we can actually take quiet time, sit and do nothing, and we're not bored. We are just recuperating and receiving. When that boredom strikes, something's amiss. We are sliding back into old behaviors, or we're bypassing, we're not wanting to look at something. And that can be a very, very slippery slope if you are someone with addiction issues. If you are not an addict of any kind, if you don't have those problems, I'm going to say boredom is still a slippery slope. It's okay. I'm going to say, this is what just came. Boredom is a gateway. Boredom is a gateway into poor choices, poor behavior, unhealthy behavior. Boredom can lead us to do risky things, whether it's risky to our health physically, to our physical body, to our mental health. Boredom is Spirit's way of saying, I've got more for you. Sometimes fear can keep us from hearing that. Anyways, I need to wrap this up. I implore you, I invite you, when you feel that boredom, to take a look inside, reach out to someone on the outside, and do something different. Do something to move yourself forward, whether that is just forward in your healing journey, forward in your life, forward in your recovery, forward to recovery. Forward motion is always a good thing. I hope this was helpful to somebody out there. I I hope something was thought-provoking, and I am really grateful that you chose to tune in, to listen to me. Not that I am anybody special, but I am really called to share words of spirit's wisdom and of my experience on the recovery journey and of addiction. So again, you can find me and my partner Pam at tcseveryday psychics.com. And you take care. I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.